Welcome to Mi-Soul, Louise Golby.
Hello.
It's a pleasure having you here, actually.
Oh, it's nice
We've
to be here.
spoken so many times that we've actually never met, have we?
See, I think we have met once, years ago. I think I did a gig in Bush Hall, and I remember you coming up to me with your magazine.
You did.
But that was a while ago.
It was a long time
And then
ago.
we haven't met since, we've just been on email.
Yeah. How did you get started in music?
Well, I've grown up around quite a musical family, and like I always danced and sung and did lots of like theatre shows when I was little. My mum sings in like a local amateur dramatics thing. My dad plays guitar. My uncle plays violin. So it was kind of inevitable that I'd end up performing. But I always thought I'd go into musical theatre because I did so much dancing and acting and stuff. But from like what I used to listen to, I always listened to soul and hip hop, like away from all that. And I don't know, I just started writing, and kind of because of what I listened to, it went towards the soul jazz kind of direction. And then, I don't know, I guess just started gigging and ended up not doing as much musical theatre, and I thought, well, it's kind of one or the other.
And you chose music.
Chose music, yeah.
Good choice.
I miss dancing though.
Do you?
Yeah, I always try and...
I always find dancers are quite tall.
Well, there you go. That's probably why I never made it. No, I am. Whenever I do a music video, I always try and I'm like, I'm going to dance in this one, just so I can get my my dancing needs.
How much of an influence were your family on your career?
Well, I guess, like I said, naturally because of their musical talent and stuff, it seeps through. But yeah, I mean, they've been really supportive. I think at first, especially when I wanted to do musical theatre, I think they were a bit anxious because I was quite academic at school, and I wanted to go to stage school when I was 16, and they wanted me to stay at school, which I did, and and then went to university and everything like that. So I did please them up to a certain age, and then you thought,
enough's really, enough. I'm doing what I want to do.
No, but they are really proud of me, and they come to a lot of my gigs, and they're very supportive.
Because you've been gigging musically for quite a while now.
I have, yeah.
How did you find? Was you nervous when you first started gigging, or?
Yeah, well, actually, the main reason I kind of started gigging, doing my own stuff, was because a friend of mine that I went to university with used to put on a variety night of actors, singers, poets, all sorts, and it had to be original material. And she was like, I'd really like you to sing, but do you have any of your own songs? Because I was doing quite a lot of soul and jazz covers gigs. And I was like, well, I have written a couple, but I've never sung them in front of anyone. And she was like, I think you should do it. So it was like my first gig, and it went really well. And basically, because of her, I then ended up booking more gigs. Like, she kind of gave me that first platform. It was like a 3-song set. And yeah, it's kind of... But yeah, I was sorry, in answer to your question, yes, it was nerve-wracking. Sorry. But yeah, singing a song, like especially a new song that you've written for the first time to anyone is nerve-wracking, because you don't know if it's any good or not.
So what was it like, that transition period, when you said, like, this is it, it's music for me, I'm going to become a singer? Was that a scary time, or did you just like take it in your stride and go for it? Well,
as I said, like when I was a little girl, I always knew I wanted to perform.
Yeah.
That was never a question for me. So yeah, and then I've just always done it. I didn't stop doing anything else, I guess. Like, I did French at university, I could have pursued that, but I want to do more gigs in France, and I've recorded a couple of my songs in French, so I'm kind of getting my skills in there as well.
Saying that, because you've recorded songs, the reason why you're here is because you've got a new album out.
I have.
Tell us about your new... we have a little look at your new album. What's it called?
Yeah, it's called Novel.
Okay.
And
because I know you've done a few EPs.
I have.
This is your first album.
It's my first full album. So yeah, I've released singles and EPs online, also physical copies. But yeah, doing an album is quite a big deal. It's got a couple of older songs on, which I've reproduced, and then it's got a few new ones on, including one that I wrote with Omar. And Omar features on it.
Yeah, he's on the album. How did you manage to pull that off? Because Omar's is very sought after. He's hugely popular. How did you manage that?
Well, we'd met over the years a few times at various things, and I think I supported him at a gig quite a while ago, and I knew that he produced for other artists as well as doing his own stuff, and I approached him and I said, I'd love to work with you. And this was ages ago. And he was like, yeah, definitely, I'm quite busy at the moment, blah, blah. And then he like messaged me on Facebook a couple of years ago going, I haven't forgotten you, my manager's going to be in touch. Yeah. And she got in touch and said, right, you know, Omar still wants to work with you. So I came to his studio with a song idea that I'd already kind of worked on, and we developed it together. He helped me write the middle eight, and then I asked him if he wanted to feature on it. So it's
and
not,
he said yes.
He said yes, which is great. And he came and performed. I did like a pre-launch party for the album because it's not officially out on iTunes yet. And he came and performed. He was my special guest, and we did this song, and he did a couple of his. So it was great. He was so amazing to work with, and honestly, I'm so honoured that he's on my album.
He's a great guy. We love Omar here at Mi-Soul. We've got a lot of time for him. So you've done really well to get him. Who else is on the album?
There's a female rapper, spoken word artist rapper called Lyric L, who's on my track Game Player. Mm-hmm. And then I've got on Sparkle, which is actually quite an old song of mine, but I've revamped it. It's like the 2015 remix. So there's a lot more upbeat. Sparkle. And I did a session at Metropolis Studios with he's mainly a keyboard player, but he played bass as well. He's an incredible bass player called Mo Pleasure.
Okay,
Morris Pleasure.
Yeah.
And he was over basically from America and was doing sessions with people, and someone hooked us up. So I was like, brilliant, you know, would you be up for playing on this track? It's going to be on my album. And he was incredible. And he's worked with Michael Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire and Roberta Flack, and so yeah. So it's
everyone on this album is quite incredible, sounds like.
Well. Well, Omar, Mo.
When did you start putting it together?
Is that because I keep saying incredible?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
When did you start putting the album together?
Around October time.
Last year?
Yeah. So because a few of the tracks are kind of existing ones that we redeveloped, it didn't actually take as long as it would have done if I was starting from scratch with every track. And I had a really clear idea of what I wanted to do. I worked with a producer called Drew Hawley, who mixed and mastered the whole thing and produced quite a few of the tracks. And I've worked with him for ages, and he's from quite a hip-hop background. He does all the stuff with Ty, you know.
Okay, yeah, I know.
He's worked with Estelle, De La Soul, and quite a lot of like English artists. And yeah, I just love the way he works. And yeah, so I had quite a clear idea of where I wanted to go, and we worked quite quickly together. So yeah, it's good.
It did pretty quick, starting in October, and it's not even February yet, and it's out. Well, nearly out.
It's nearly out.
Are you pleased with it?
I'm very pleased. Yeah.
If you could go back and change anything about it, would you? And if so, what would it be?
Well, I took a long time deciding on which tracks to go on it, which is not a bad thing to have too many to choose from.
How many did you have?
Well, because, you know, when I was deciding which ones to redo, yeah, I got loads of people's advice. I wanted to make it my strongest stuff because although, you know, I've got existing fans and everything, I also want people that have never heard of me to, like, be interested in it. So I wanted it to be my strongest songs, even if they've been ones that, like I said, have been out for a bit, but these are, like, new versions of. And, yeah, it was just really hard deciding which of some of my tracks I didn't put on, which I did, why people liked certain tracks. I was really trying to get a good idea of what songs people thought were the strongest or most commercial or most, you know. So, yeah.
How would you describe the album? How would you describe, if you was to describe it, you know, what would you say about it?
Well, I like to think it's quite varied in tempo and lyric content, but it all flows really well. It's called Novel because, well, there's a few reasons. Like, novel, I think, is quite a...
novel word.
It's a novel word. Well, no, it's got lots of meanings. Obviously, novel it means new as well. So, you know, it's a new thing. It's got new songs on it. And also, obviously, a novel is like someone's big book, you know. Yeah. And I consider this my novel in music. It's my story through music because it's, you know, loads of songs that I've written and, you know, about different things. So, yeah.
Will we get to see you performing it live? That's the next question.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, you missed the pre-launch thing.
I was out of the country.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay excuse,
then, yeah.
I'd say.
That you didn't invite me.
What? Of course I did. I think you're on my mailing list. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we performed most of the tracks with my full band. So I'm booking a few more band gigs in, because obviously they sound better when you've got everyone, but I've got a few acoustic ones booked in, and I'm doing a gig in Hamburg next weekend, which is quite exciting.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I've been there, it's nice Hamburg.
Have you?
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's going to be cold. But yeah, I'm excited about that though. Apparently the Beatles made it big in Hamburg. I'm not playing at the same venue they did, but still, you never know.
You never know, one day.
One day.
So you're in Hamburg. When are you going to be? Are you going to? Is a jazz cafe any off or anything like that?
Yes, actually, good point. I'm doing a Valentine's special.
Ooh, isn't that nice?
Well, I think it's just because it's the day before Valentine's. At Jazz Cafe on the 13th of February.
Is that just you on your own?
No, I think there's 3 or 4 acts, but it's called Super Duper Fly, and it's 90s R&B and hip hop afterwards. So it's a really good night because they have live music and then they have really good DJs. So
that sounds like. Is that with Spoonie?
No,
because he's doing something there as well.
They've got loads of different nights actually. They don't just do the live music ones. So yeah, possibly. I know like CJ Beats, and they've got a night coming up with DJ Luck and MC Need.
That's taking me back.
Unfortunately, it's when I'm in Hamburg, so I can't go.
When is the album out officially? I've heard it. I think it's fantastic. So well done. I really do.
You.
I really like the album. When's it out officially?
Well, it basically, because I'm not signed or I'm not managed or anything, I'm kind of doing everything on my own, and I'm in the process of making decisions about how to, basically whether to release a single first and then the album, because I want to make sure that I get everything right and, you know, have a proper formula. So I actually don't know. I'm hoping by the end of February, hopefully earlier, but it kind of depends on, you know, what promo I do and how the best way to go about it. But you can get hold of copies through my website.
Which is?
Louise.Golby.com. That's how you spell Golby, if you can actually see it through my
Just spell
face.
it out. G-O-L.
G-O-L-B-E-Y. So yeah, Louisegolby.com, and also at gigs, which is a nicer way. And then I'll sign it for you. Yeah.
Louise Golby, thank you very much for coming into Mi-Soul. Really nice to see you again. Finally. And good luck with the album. I hope it does really well for you.
Thank you.